Hey everybody, it's Patrick from Sasquatch in the Wild. So last time on my last video, Mike, Trenton, and I were down in the valley. Uh, I was pretty sure as far as we could get, but we were on a squatchy trail. Mike pointed out that this is a squatchy trail. This is a squatchy trail. So we went hiking down this trail, and we were seeing some pretty odd things. I had mentioned before this weird set of rocks that looked like a graveyard. And at the last video, I wanted to one of the other videos I talked about it, and I couldn't figure out where I put all these pictures, and I found the file finally, and there all the pictures that are now on the phone are ready for this video. So what we were on this long trail. We're kind of wiggling on down through this part of this valley and through this old forest. We got to a point where the trail splits and it goes straight and it goes to the right. And Mike and Trenton turned and went to the right, and I kept going down. And I was walking along this rock face, this crazy rock face, and it wiggled around a little bit. And at the bottom of the rock face, there was like these weird gaps, and it almost looked like a low, shallow like a cave where you could crawl into it. And I was like, okay. And I was looking at it a little bit, but then I get to a point, and I'm looking at this debris field. And at first glance, if you really look at it, you would think, oh, this is like from a flood. But if you looked around at the rock face and all the trees and everything around it, there was no mud line. There was nothing that dictated that this was a flooding event. There was nothing there that showed it. Nothing. And I sat there and I looked up at this thing, trying to figure it out. It just looked really out of place. It looked like it almost, in a weird way, it looked like it was staged because how big and mass that this thing was. Every broken branch, every tree, or broken tree, or cut lumber, or whatever was pushed into this giant, gnarly thing. And I wish I would have photographed it, but I didn't. So I drew a picture, and it will go. I think it goes on this side. Um, yeah, all my pictures are end up over these two paintings I did. Um, but everything seemed wrong, and it seemed like it was staged 100%. That drove me crazy because I stood there probably for about a half hour looking at this thing, trying to figure out why it was. So I turned around and I went back, and as I was walking back, I could see Mike and Trenton looking past this creek bed, and they were debating on crossing it, but there was water rushing down through on this creek. And as I walked up to where that turnoff is, on the ground sat this weird looking, um, the best thing I could describe it. It looked like a three pointed. I called it a three pointed star, but when you look at it from the photograph, it looks like a three pointed triangle, and the branches are extending off of the 3 points. But what's weird about that 3 points is one point is facing the way we came, one point is facing the way I went, and the other point was facing where Trent and Mike was. And when I backed up and I was looking at this thing, I started looking around carefully, and I noticed there was this post. And it was like if you went straight up back to where the trailhead was and off about 2 feet. I don't know how we missed this thing, but there's about a 4 foot tall post, had a little bit of signage on it, and it said like 5 point something miles this way, which was where the debris field was. You can get to such and such, and like 2 point something miles this way across that creek. There's something else, and then another 1.5 miles away we came up was a campsite, and I was like, "What the hell?" And that was an actual like forestry sign. And then I backed up and I looked at that pattern on the ground again, and that ground art was signage, and it wasn't signage for us. it was signage for Sasquatch. And I kept looking at this and looking at this, and I was looking at both, trying to, I was just putting it together. I was like, Dad, this is pretty cool. So I turned and told Mike about this. He came over and he goes, Patrick, I hate to break it to you, but SIR members do not believe in ground art. It's an anomaly. It's not real. Don't believe in it. That's almost like saying, here are these giant structures, but it's an anomaly. It does not exist. Well, we're seeing these giant asterisks and TP structures. Oh, that stuff, no, that's not real. No. But yet, I look at the ground art and I see it's almost like signage for me, and it is. It's because I find direction in it. And I'm going to talk about that coming up. I said I was going to talk about this video. I'm not. I've got like 4 minutes to finish out this video. So we end up going back, and I take loads of photographs going back out and going up the hill, and we get back to the campsite, and Trenton and I are both kind of getting hungry, and Mike said he was getting hungry. So Mike said he was going to make his brats, but he was also going to make spaghetti. So we ended up doing that, and I was contributing something to that meal. I don't remember what it was, though. And we decided that we were going to take that food back down to the valley, and I was going to replenish the log that had the center part was dug out, and replenish that with my nuts and my berry stuff. Mike made another bowl of strawberries, and he made a big plate, and we had the spaghetti and meat sauce on one side, and we had chopped up like 4 brats, and we put them there. Now, those brats, for whatever reason, they weren't spicy the first time we ate them. They were spicy the second time we ate them. And I noticed it, Trent noticed it, and Mike noticed it. But, he said, let's take these things down and let's put them back down the valley. And said, all right, that whole day, it didn't sit right. There was like something off. It's almost like all the entities in that area, all the Sasquatches in the area, were so used to us that they didn't care that we were there. Now, we're at 10 minutes, so I have to cut this. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to post it today. And I'm actually doing it on Wednesday again. So, I am going to do this. I'm going to kill it. And I'll tell you what happens on Sunday to finish out this story. And we'll start talking about ground art. Actually, we're not going to talk about too much of the ground art, because I want to talk about what happens when you come across your first Sasquatch and how to prepare yourself for it. Okay, my name is Patrick, and this is Sasquatch in the Wild, and I hope you're having a great day and enjoying this journey. I'll talk to you later. Bye.